So here it comes out that no one really knows much about Harriet Smith's parents. She, as it was mentioned in the previous chapter, she was dropped off at the boarding school as a young child and then lived there and never went anywhere else. Never had any family visit or call or write. And then she turned into a boarder there. So there's money being sent from someplace for her to live there and for her to go to school. But it's kind of fuzzy where it's coming from, and Mrs. Goddard, the woman who runs the school, hasn't said and doesn't appear inclined to say, and so she's just living there. And with a name like Smith, Smith is a very, very common name. Almost to the point where it's used as a fake name. So, yes, I am John Smith. It's like, yeah, that's a real name, even though there's lots of Johns and lots of Smiths. Once you have the name John Smith, everyone assumes it's fake. So, here you have Harriet Smith. And so she has some sort of nebulous birth. And in society, especially at this time, there were people who were snobby about it. It's like, oh yes, my great 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 came over with William the Conqueror. Good stout, or I am descended from blah 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 blah. And so, you had these people who were marrying names in order to keep this sort of sense of propriety. And Emma was like, okay, she doesn't have that going for her, but she's pretty. And she's not stupid. She's not smart. But she's not stupid. So, that's a good starting place for a woman, but she doesn't have the name or the property, but that can be remedied. Now, Harriet was hanging out with a farmer family because the head of the household or the farm was prosperous enough that the daughters could be sent to the boarding school as a way of them moving up. The idea is that you always try to leave the next generation better off than you started with. Something that I've always considered is that in order for someone to be a success, a true success, they have to do two things. One, they have to do better than their parents. So, having a better job than my father, having more money, more kids, a better position in the community, outdoing what my parents did. And the second one is more important, and that's for my children to do better than me. And this has long been the way of society where the idea is that you do well, but the real glory is in your kid's success. And I'm not talking like, oh, little league and, acting or, not success as a child, but success as an adult in bringing a child up to be a good adult and having them have a long and successful life so that, it's you build the idea is that you build generation after generation. That the future is what's more important than the now. And so the future is what's more important than the now. And Emma is at a place where she doesn't have to deal with any of this stuff. Honestly, her father has amassed all of this wealth, has this huge house, servants, large income, rents out land. And so she has to do nothing. And it's kind of weird that she's more concerned with getting her friends and such married off rather than looking at herself, because here she is, she's trying to marry off her new 18-year-old friend, and she's 21 and not considering herself in this. So I don't know. I don't know. This was a long chapter. This was a dull chapter.